Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Morning Minutes. Myself, Michael Burgio, Lisa Novak, episode 1675. Is the real estate market over? Buyer sentiment would be at the lowest it's been in many years, but does that mean real estate has stopped? Lisa, good morning.
Good morning.
Is real
Good
estate
morning.
over?
Aren't you lucky you got me this morning,
I do.
Burge?
Feel very good. Great
Okay,
replacement.
so I have to say, I received a phone call from my mum yesterday morning, and she called me and she said, "Is everything all right?" And I said, "Yes, mum, why?" She said, "Well, I was watching Tom Panos this morning on Sky News, and it sounds like the market is absolutely terrible." And I said, "Look, here's the thing, and here's where people get things really, really wrong. When people talk about what is going on in the Sydney real estate market, they're talking about generalised areas. So, Tom is a phenomenal auctioneer, and obviously he's one of the biggest spokespeople I'd say we've got in our industry. But Tom doesn't do a huge amount in areas like the Northern Beaches. Tom doesn't do a lot in the areas like the eastern suburbs. Not to say he doesn't have a phenomenal grasp on the market, he absolutely does. But this is where things can go terribly wrong. The Northern Beaches market, and I'm sure you'd agree, Burge, is extremely active still. Extremely active. In fact, I'm having one of the busiest weeks I think I've ever had in real estate. And it's certainly not from vendors calling me and saying things are terrible. Thanks to the budget, I have to sell. That is not happening. People are selling for a variety of reasons. But there are certain markets that are not doing as well at the moment as others. And I understand that could be areas of the western suburbs are being punished quite a lot. But the Northern Beaches market is still extremely active. So is the market dead? Absolutely not. It is well and truly alive. Trust me, guys, if the market was not doing well, we would be reporting exactly that. We'd be saying, listen, it's Armageddon out here. The market's not doing well and transactions aren't happening. What do you reckon? What do you say?
It's like if someone says you go to Westfields and be like, the food's bad there, don't go there. It's like, no, you may have had bad food at one particular restaurant. One restaurant is a suburb for this analogy. And you need to know where your restaurant is, where your suburb fills into the market. Because if you just listen to generalizations of the market or that diet doesn't work, that area is bad, it's like, well, there might be a good restaurant within there. That's where I'll go. And just like if you're okay, the key thing is in Australia, we have always been very property investment centric. That's how all the wealth is created. You look at countries like America where it's more entrepreneurship. Australia is property. That has not changed. The fundamentals of how wealth is created in Sydney, in Australia, has not changed. What has changed is the sentiment through a few policies has changed and has made a lot of people second guess what they should be doing, which in fact, I was chatting with Lisa just before, if you look at a climate right now, there's more properties to choose from. Funding's better than it's been in years. Obviously, there's been better times, but still very good timing. So just on the end, because sentiment is at its all-time worst, there's less buyers per property. So instead of having 10 active offer makers, you've got 1, 2, or 3. So it's nearly the best time to be buying because real estate is still a 20-year plan. It's not a 1-year plan, you know? You got to be thinking, so think about this. Was it better to buy now or in 2021 when all you could hear was, I'm missing out on properties, it sold for 500 grand more than it should have.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. Like, when do you want to buy? That's the question you need to ask yourself. So when do you want to buy? If you're waiting, guys, for the bottom of the market, I'm pretty confident we've arrived there. I really do. We were having a look. We had one of the big real estate companies come in and speak with us yesterday, and we were having a really, really good look at data. It was actually quite interesting. So stock is up, which is what we're seeing. Transactions actually are still extremely active. The data does not lie. The market looks as though it has come off about 7 to 10% in certain areas. I'm talking about the northern beaches. But when we started having a look at data in other areas, it actually wasn't as bad. We were looking at some of the data in the western suburbs to compare, and that market actually is not down in certain areas as much as what we're seeing on the northern beaches. So, and let me give you an example. I just exchanged a property for a client of mine. They purchased it 3 years ago. They now decided that they're going to reside overseas. It was by no means an urgent sale, but they purchased the property for circa 1.13 years ago, and we've just transacted it for $1,050,000. The market is down. Now, is it going to continue to go down? The market doesn't just continue to go down 30%, 40%, 60%. It just doesn't happen.
And a big thing people don't realize, one, the government won't let it. So there's two things to factor in. There's $11 trillion.
There's an important point. The government doesn't let it.
Well, so there's $11 trillion worth of real estate asset, and I think it's 60% of those homes have no debt on it. So as much as people buying now, 95% loan, very leveraged, majority of homeowners have no debt. So if the market did drop 40%, they're just not going to sell. There's no pressure to hold onto it.
Correct.
And then the other part to it as well. Now, the first month of COVID, the government, where people feared the property market was going to go down 30, 40%, even more, the government was thinking about stopping property transactions. Just like when the share market goes crazy, they halt trading because they don't want it to collapse, and they, like, rightfully or wrongfully so, the government getting involved, they're just going to. So they're not going to let the property market crash because they know that's where the wealth's created. So
that's right.
What else? Like, what are you waiting for? It's probably come. We've seen, say, in that first year of COVID, we saw it in 2016 when there was when there was issues with the banking. They really tightened up banking. We saw it come back to 5-10%. When we've both been in it long enough now to have seen big booms and drops. And all you hear when it's booming is, "I'll wait till the market quietens."
Yeah. And no one rings a bell, guys. No one rings the bell and goes, ding, 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 ding. We're here. We're at the bottom of the market. It's arrived. The big mistake that I see people make is for buyers. They're trying to time where the bottom of the market is. And then the only way to know where the bottom of the market is when it's too late. And the market's already started to rebound again. And then all the buyers rush in and go, now let's go buy. And it's like, oh, you missed the 10% discount. Now you've only got a 5% discount, right? And then very quickly that market rebounds. So you need to be careful. As I said, no one's ringing a bell to let you know when the bottom of the market is. Right now we're seeing great buying opportunities. But bigger than that, Burge, is why are you selling? If you're a vendor, why are you selling? Because if you were selling then to go straight back into the property market, and I had this conversation with a vendor the other day, your net effect, so your changeover costs are actually phenomenal at the moment. So yes, you're going to sell for less than what you probably hoped for, but you are buying for less than what you were going to pay.
Anyone
so
upsizing,
the changeover cost is phenomenal.
Anyone upsizing, this should be like music to your ears. This is the best market to do it, because 10% on $1 million property, or say a unit, and you're buying a house, and that's come back 10%. So just simple numbers: 10% on $1 million is $100,000, but 10% on the $3 million house you're buying, or $2 million, is $200,000. It is the best climate for you to be doing that.
Well, I appraised a property for someone quite well known actually in the real estate industry, and he was saying, I want to sell now because this is the best opportunity right now for me to sell and go straight back into the property market. Someone who's extremely well known in the industry. So, understand, guys, this is exactly that. This is outstanding buying opportunity for you. For the sellers out there, again, I want you to consider, and listen, this week, I have been swamped with appraisals. It was actually a little bit quiet the last couple of weeks, and all of a sudden, there's just been this avalanche of appraisals, and no one is calling me, bar one person actually, and saying, I absolutely have to sell.
Yeah.
People are selling for a variety of reasons. They're now living abroad. They see it as a great opportunity to be able to
Yeah.
get back into the market. They're downsizers. There's been an unfortunate death in the family or a divorce. A whole different range of reasons. I do actually think, I think stock levels are going to stay still quite moderate. What do you think, pushing through to spring, which is ordinarily a busy time of the
Yeah.
year?
I think spring typically is when an extra. So Northern Beaches, historically, our average has probably been 800 properties, 700 on the market for sale. Around the peak times, we were down to 300, 400. I've got 10 years of data. I've manually tracked it my whole career, even longer.
I think you got a tattoo with it on your arm
Yes.
somewhere, don't
How
you?
many listings available? So right now we're sitting between that 950 to 1,000. So it's the highest it's been. So coming to spring, when typically more properties would come on the market, another 10%, I think that will follow as well. And I think people just need to. It's so easy. Like society is based on people following the masses. You know the
Yeah.
saying like, if 99 people turn left, and then you've got your Elon Musk who turns right, and no one like
Yep.
everyone's different. Like that's what's happening with the sentiment. So people need to look at their own personal circumstances, and this is that best time to be buying, and i.e. selling if you're upsizing and changing your circumstances. Because do you know how horrible it is in a boom market when someone sells that apartment for $1 million to upsize to the 1.5 or $2 million house,
Yeah.
but then that $2 million house 2 months later is worth 2.5, and they can't afford it anymore.
But
Like,
here's an interesting exercise. Save this video and rewatch it again in 12 months' time.
yeah, and you're gonna be like, oh, I
And I
should
can
have bought.
guarantee you things won't be worse.
Yeah.
As in, oh, I wish I didn't listen to them. In 12 months' time, I think we'll be in a very, very different situation. As in, I think that property market's definitely going to start moving
The
upwards.
government is always doing stuff to pump up property because it's the lifeblood
Love
of
them or
our wealth.
love them or loathe
Yes,
them. It's the
correct.
reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the
Otherwise,
reality.
I think that covers it. We could talk for a very long time about this. Anything else you wanna cover?
No, just great buying opportunities out there at the moment, guys. Yes, I do actually. Just before we finish up, I want to say one more thing. There have been some buyers that have been walking into open homes when we've had guides, as an example, on a property of $1 million saying, I'll offer 700, the vendor will take it. That couldn't be further from the truth. The reality is that there, as I said, I'm certainly not seeing any absolutely desperate sales out there. Property prices have definitely not come off 30 or 40%.
Well, that's like I said, most property owners own it debt free. You gotta remember that. Like most have it debt free. They're only wanting to sell. And a big thing of
But particularly in areas like the Northern Beaches, like
typically Northern Beaches.
people just aren't leveraged that
No.
hard. They're just not like the average person is just not leveraged that hard. That's the
And
truth.
you've got a better chance, like in negotiations, even from a buyer. Yes, you want it at the lowest price, but you've also got to put yourself in the other person's shoes. You offer too low, they take it as disrespect. They
Yeah.
don't want to deal with you. They will come back even firmer. So just factor in where it is. Listen to the agent.
Listen to the agent.
the comparables,
Definitely.
and just make offers. This is a great market to be making offers. Making offers is free, and you can really see what prices are a little bit more negotiable, because we do get the owners who are like, I want, let's say it's worth 2 million, I'll only sell for 2.2. Not every property can get that in this type of
Yeah.
market, but if it's worth 2, you'll still get 2 in this market. But let's say you need someone now in this type of market, you may not get it in the first 7 days. You might get it in 30 days, 40 days. So there's sometimes owners who have bought something because it's such a good buy and they need to be sold by a time frame. Because
Yeah,
I got these
that's right.
owners, the only time I'm seeing people maybe take a little bit less, it's not because they need to. It's because they've bought something and they want to make it smoother, or they want to buy something at another great price. Like, okay, I'll take 50 grand less here because I think I'm getting 100 grand less
exactly
over
what I'm
there.
saying too.
Let's do the deal.
Yep.
So with buyers, stay flexible, make offers, and but obviously not too low, because then the owner will say, I've had owners say, F them,
And
don't
to the
deal with them.
sellers, there are plenty of buyers out there, guys.
Sure.
There are. If you want to know the honest to God truth, ask the local real estate agent. They'll tell you. But everything, and I said it the other day, everything that's being reported in the Daily Telegraph,
Yeah.
in the Sydney Morning Herald,
Or
love all the
generalisations.
media outlets. It's all generalisations. They're not breaking it down and saying these are the auction clearance rates, which I don't think is a great gauge at
Yeah.
all at the moment of what is going on
Just
in the market.
realestate.com sold.
But they're not
What's
breaking
there?
it down.
Yeah.
They're saying these are the auction clearance rates for where? For where? Was it for the eastern suburbs? Was it for the northern beaches? Was it for Quakers Hill? Like, where are those auction clearance rates? And again, I don't think that is a good gauge whatsoever. The better gauge is how many days on market. How many days was it taking to sell the property? That's the better gauge.
Yeah.
All right, we could talk all day.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
guys.
Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, everyone. Bye.